Good afternoon, everybody. It's 5 minutes that I have, all protocols observed. I just want to quickly, I don't know if Bruce here from Foster Stewart Industries, if he's available, perhaps he could stand. If not, we will move forward. The idea is that he's probably the youngest sponsor that we have in the room, and he's from Namibia. And I think he just brought some great delegations with Namibia, and it's really worth to give him the mention. The second one will go to Konskara Mata. Thank you very much for the past 6, 7 years for setting up such high quality conferences. We really appreciate. My issue today is that I hear the issue of land is really coming through strong, and I just want to ensure that the investor, Namibia, we are ready and we are able to respond to all the needs of the land requirement. On the presentation, the spatial analysis that is there is basically Rehoboth, and the reason why it's Rehoboth is that Rehoboth got a special operation. They got their own deeds office. Basically, within 24 hours, we are able to give you a title deed. So if you need land and you have the money, you can just wire now, and we'll make sure that you have it. So that is how good we are. I know there's a lot of comparison regarding Rwanda, that Rwanda is very competitive. But all I wanted to say is that what Rwanda did, they just copied all our land policies and they just perfection. But we are moving in the right direction. So, and I'll prove to you basically why. The reason for Rehoboth is that for the past 18 years, Rehoboth was not growing. And that's why you see the brown area. That was 2000 and 2006. Then you have the yellow area 2012, and the rest is 2021. That clearly shows you that there hasn't been a lot of growth in Rehoboth. But the good thing is, and what I wanted to assure, the reason why Rehoboth is that there is also the aspect, people were accommodated in those spaces, and the issues of the ancestral land in Rehoboth, they've been dealt with, which is the Rukoro report. So the conflicts of land issues has been addressed. We are working very, very hard on it. So do bear with us, and we are able to give you the land that you require. What you're seeing there in the picture, that is Rundu. Rundu is one of the aspects that we are having some serious problem in terms of infrastructure. The thing is, when it comes to land and infrastructure, it's a space that you cannot lie, and you need to tell the truth. And sometimes as a country, we are always misunderstood, and that's why I'm trying to make a reference from David Chappelle that is always misunderstood. And the Namibian context when it comes to land, that is one of the aspects. Rundu is having some serious crisis, but we've been working on it. Even as we speak now, there are stakeholders having some meetings to address the infrastructure. And I think Lethon Consulting Engineers, they are also part here, and they are part of the strategic master plan for Rundu. And in short, Rundu has run about only 30% of the residents of Rundu have food services. And the rest of the 70, they don't have any services, but it's the second most populated urban area in Namibia. The idea is just to give you context that we do have problems and we are not hiding them, but we are addressing them. It's just to give you that context perspective. So what we're trying to indicate as well, there was a lot mentioned about data. We are working extremely hard to address our data issues so that we can give you the correct information. But what we are presenting there is basically a short perspective of what are the different data that are available in the private sector, which we gave you a town of Grootfontein, Marienthal, Wolfish Bay, and I think it's on Thea. So basically, looking at those graphs, it's a clear indication our average house sales per year is around about 300 a year. So in the past 5 years, you're looking at an average of around about 1,500. When you look at Grootfontein, over a period of close to 20 years, they are producing 1,500 land portions. This is purely just a reality. We are struggling in this aspect, but we are working on it. The idea and the concept is about truth, and we want to be clear on what we are telling you. But there is a solution for it in terms of going forward. When you look at Wolfish Bay is probably one of the towns that is selling above 800, but in the past 2 to 3 years, they've declined extremely. But they are working hard, Mr. Mayor, but that's just the reality. But it's a condition of attitude of the market and all other aspects. The same applies to Omphia. Omphia, it's also another struggle there. But our numbers are deliver more units. So we haven't really assessed what is the impact of delivery of the new urban structure plan. But very soon we will be able to do that. So just to give you a better, because my idea is to sell about is to talk about Ludwig, is to sell it, because the hyphen, they are planning to build their project in close proximity. And what we have then realized is that there's going to be around about, say, 3,000 permanent jobs, and those people will need housing and they will need infrastructure. But in the past 4 months, we're doing a flexible land tenure and Ludwig, and we just realized that they on the waiting list is around about 6,000 people on the waiting list, and that means basically when you add on the green hydrogen project, we are looking at 10,000 land portions. Now, for the past 30 years, we've been producing. For the past 30 years, for every 10 years, we are producing 10,000 land portions. So, which means over a period of 30 years, we are sitting at around about 46,000 land portions. So if you're looking at the data, it might not seem possible that Ludwig won't be able to deliver this land portions, but we are in the process of improving it, and this is basically the reason why. Now, for the past 2 months, we were very fortunate as a company and the Kamau Town Planning and Development Specialist to be appointed as to be the lead consultant on the urban land policy. And under the urban land policy, that's where we're going to generate all the needed aspects in terms of land delivery and infrastructure. We've been struggling with our financial sector to be able to understand how do they need to finance infrastructure. Now, under the integrated land policy, all these factors are going to be addressed, and we got experts on the team as well, of which Manasseh is going to give us the input on the financial aspect and how to structure those elements in financing infrastructure and housing. We are seriously working on it. And I know this morning when I woke up, the first thing I look at the newspaper, I realize that there's an issue of affordability. It's something that we've picked up in the newspaper. So hence the concept, it's all about the truth. And however, as I said, Namibia is always misunderstood. So we are working hard. We are establishing some policy pillars, of which also this pillar is also an extraction from the Namibia Prosperity Plan. And thus far, we've already been given some 2 reports that has been sent to the State House because they wanted to know how far are we with the process of the urban land policy. We're extremely communicating with the ministry in terms to be able to address this housing shortage and solution. Perhaps I would then want to touch further on perhaps what I've missed on yesterday's discussion. It's the marine spatial plan that we're also having in Namibia. There have been some court cases in the past due to some development in the high water mark, but the marine spatial plan is there. I do not know if Hyphen or the environmentalists are aware of such a policy, but we do have it in place now. I think it's probably 2 to 3 months it will be then formalized. So we are working extremely hard to address the housing shortages. The plans are in place, and the government is really investing a lot of money into it. Now, basically on the continent, we are the second country to be able to do the urban land policy, and the first country is Ghana. However, we are celebrating Rwanda, but in the next 3 years, we will be able to catch up with South Africa because we are implementing the SPLUMA, the National Special Development Framework, and 2 years thereafter, we'll then implement the regional structure plan, which I'm looking forward that in the next 3 years, Namibia will probably be number 1 in terms of land delivery. We are moving at a very fast pace. It's just that a lot of people are not aware of this thing, but some of us who are operating in the land space and development, we are taking track and we are on the right track. Thank you very much.